ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। In the last class, we were talking that there are many mudras, but among these many mudras, 10 are considered as the best. So we were discussing the description was given, verse number 23 and 24. Mahamudra Mahabandha Mahavedhasya Khechari Jalandhara Moolavandha Viparita Krutistatha Uddanam Chaiva Vajroli Dashame Shakti Chalanam Idam Hi Mudra Dashakam Mudranam Uttamottam. So the best among the best ones, so better than the best, starting with Mahamudra. So today we can look at, because verse number 25 also we saw the introduction to Mahamudra. Mahamudram pravakshyam tantre asmin mamavallave yam prapya siddha siddhim cha kapiladhyah pragata. So gave this very clear description that how this Kapila, Muni Kapila, we have discussed few points about him, and many other siddhas, many other rishis, how they have accomplished many siddhis and they could do many things. And all these things happened again with the help of Mahamudra. Now let us look at, so what is this Mahamudra? Actually, please understand, there are different prakriyas, methodology of teaching. Sometimes some variations will be there. Sometimes something will be left over. You have to add it. Those who have already listened to Yoga Chudamani Upanishad, there Mahamudra was taught in details. In fact, we had shown in details how to go about it. Also, some of you have practiced this Mahamudra for a length of time in Chennai. And here, also let us look at what it talks. It talks almost the same. There is not much difference, except one point is left. So if we can connect, that will be great. No problem. So let us read that. Apasabbena sampidya padamulena sadaram guru padesato yonim gudramedrantaralagam sabhyam prasaritam padam drutva paniyugena vai नवद्वाराणि संयम्य चिबुकं हृदयोपरि चित्तं चित्तपथे दत्वा प्रभवेत् वायु साधनम् महामुद्रा भवेत् एषा सर्वतन्त्रेषु गोपिता वामाङ्गेन समभ्यस्य दक्षाङ्गेनाभ्यसेत् पुनः प्राणायामं समं कृत्वा योगी नियतमानसः. So these few verses we need to look at together. Says that what is to be done first. Always he uses this word, which is true. Guru Padesha, always in keeping with the guidance of the teacher. Generally, this sort of practices are not to be done independently, because there are certain difficulties, and also if any imbalances takes place, which is not healthy either. So that's why you will see everywhere this, the presence of the Guru, the guidance of the Guru is being highlighted. So he says here beautifully, so with the help of the Guru, with the guidance of the Guru, with the instruction of the Guru, so what the person has to do, that apasabhyena sampidya pada mulena sadaram. So you need to press gently the perineum with the heel of the left foot, and stretching the other foot, sabhya prasarita padam drutva pani yugena vai. So what you need to do, stretching the other foot means right foot out. Now what you have to do, hold it first by the two hands. So here it happens, that's why prior to this already Ugrasana and Paschimottasana were taught. So if a practitioner is not able to practice Paschimottasana properly, will not be able to practice this either. So these are the points you can have a look. And beautifully, because I don't want to get into in details, because a lot of things are there technically, a lot of points are in between, so which we have seen in details with reference to Yoga Chudamani Upanishad, because when a group was there with me, because when a group was there I was taking classes, so practices, everything was done, so that's why we have taken care of all these aspects in details, so which is already in the book format, anytime it will be printed. So that's why again I don't want to break my head, because there are many other things also are there. And moreover what he says, then after doing this thing, Navadvarani Sanyamya. So you have to take care of the 9 doors, 9 gates. So Navadvarani means 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nose, then comes mouth, so becomes what? 7, then down 2. So Navadvarani Sanyamya. So you need to control, you need to manage them. Because the moment you start practicing, let us say there will be some itching. Then no, I have to go to toilet. And You will say, no, my eyes are not okay. All these things will happen, will push you to disturb you so that you don't have to practice either. So, Navadvarani Sanyamya. Then he says, Chibukam Hrudayopari. So, bringing down the chin to the heart. So, instead of chest, he uses the word heart here, Hrudayopari. Because chest is just a physical expression. So, there is some emotions involved. That having trust, it is not just a mere physical controlling your prana, or you can say vayu, the air. But here more than that. That's why bringing down the chibukam to the heart. So that means there is some type of surrender. Not only physically, this bringing down chin to the chest, also mentally there is a surrender. Then comes beautifully, this is a new point here than this Yoga Chudamani Upanishad. Chittam chitapathe dattva. This is the flowery language, and of course the teaching little bit really nice. So I was really dwelling upon, I was trying to look at this Yoga Chudamani Upanishad, because for me actually job is much more, which you people are supposed to do. See, I have to look at this, what I have spoken in there, all these things, do the cross reference. What else to do? This is what my life, okay. Chittam chittapathe dattva. So allowing the mind to flow. Because Chittam has got its own patha, its own way of thinking, own way of functioning. So when you start practicing, there you cannot fight. Suppose if you start fighting there, all your energy will be there dissipated, and more than there will be fight, and the prana will be imbalanced. So he says that chittam chitapathe dattva. So allowing your mind to flow, not to have any fight at all. Then what need to do? Prabhavet vayu sadhanam. Then only one does this pranayama. So vayu sadhanam, why and how, all the details is there in Yoga Chudamani Upanishad. So he says one line and keeps quiet. All the details are talked over there. Then he says, Mahamudra bhavet esha. So this is called as Mahamudra. Sarva tantreshu gopita iti. So it is secret. The secrecy is being maintained with reference to all tantras, all tantric texts. Do maintain the secrecy. They don't reveal just like that. And he says, Bhamangena samabhyasya. Once you practice well with reference to your left, then you need to change, you need to do other side. Dakshangena abhyaset punaha. Again you need to go to right side, the other side. Then it says pranayam samakrutva. After that, what you need to do? Balancing with the pranayama. Yogi hi niyata manasa, the yogi who has control over, who has mastery over one's own mind, does this. Let us look at the next verse. The consequences and of course the falashruti both. Anena vidhina yogi mandabhagyopi siddhyati sarvasameva nadinam chalanam bindumaranam jivanantu kasayasya पातकानां विनाशनं कुण्डलीतापनं वायोः ब्रह्मरन्ध्रप्रवेशनं सर्वरोगोपशमनं जठराग्निविवर्धनं वपुषा कान्तिममलां जरामृत्युविनाशनं वञ्चितार्थफलं सौख्यम् इन्द्रियाणां च मारणम् एतद्वुत्तानि सर्वाणि योगारूढस्य योगिनः भवेदभ्यासतो वश्यं नात्र कार्या विचारणा. Beautiful. Says anena vidhina yogi manda bhagyopi siddhyate. So this is something, especially this particular mudra is something the person practices. Even if whose bhagya is manda, means whatever the person does, nothing happens. Always a failure. So manda bhagya, so his bhagya doesn't work, doesn't really support. So that's why I put unsuccessful. So he says, even the most unsuccessful yogi, means who always failures, whatever he does, nothing works. And he says, that person also will obtain success. Because that means the prana becomes so strong and you can. Then he says, Sarvesham eva nadinam chalanam binduvaranam. Not only that. So that whatever nadis we have, all the nadis, by practicing this, what happens? The nadis becomes more energetic. There is movement, there is functioning, no more stagnant. There is no laziness, letharginess. So when this nadi becomes energetic, says bindu maranamit. At the same time, what happens when the person becomes, or the nadi becomes so energetic? So that means rajasic aspect maybe will be stronger. That is a possibility. He says, no, that will not happen. So he says, bindu maranam. So here it says that means also that sexual energy will not be disturbed either. That is equally stable. So that means it's a very balancing, promising, at the same time elevated. It is not fluctuating. That is what is highlighting. Because what happens, people get into hype, then fall down. So here there is no hype or falling down, going up or falling down. Here is maintaining it. Then beautifully says, Jivananthu kasayasya patakanam vinasanam. Through this what happens? Life becomes very interesting. Because whatever kashaya we have, it's a beautiful word we use. So kashaya means, actually this is called, kashaya is nothing called impressions. After experience, what is left behind, that is called kashaya. So that it says, kashaya sa isya vinasanamit. That also gets destroyed. So which I put it in short because I did not want to get in translation, worries and anxieties in short. And also, again we say the kashayam, the worries and anxieties here, which is in the form of papas. Suppose the kashayam, because he uses the word, because each word has got beautiful way. Suppose the kashayam, the impression, which does not create a problem in you, it does not bother you, you cannot call that is papam, that will be punyam. Suppose some memory helps you to elevate, really makes you more and more happy and all these things, and brings all these things. So you cannot say that is papam. That is not the result of this bad thing. So here it says the kashayam which is called papam. So that means your origin anxiety is the impression that creates, that drains, I would rather say the impression that drains your energy. Because your origin anxieties are nothing, literally they drain your prana, the energy. So that is also equally destroyed. And it says beautifully here, of course, sarvaroga upashamanam. So whatever roga, disease you have, it will also get healed. How? He gives this clue in between. That's a beautiful point. That's the application part here. Says Kundali tapanam vayoho brahmarandhra praveshanam. So this particular line are there in few texts and also not available in other texts. This line is extra line is there. So I came across, because before taking classes I generally look at many texts. So whatever existing text available. So some of the text doesn't talk this at all. But this one it talks, which is actually has got a beautiful clue, which is really perfectly keeping the practice. This works perfectly. Or else it looks like jumping. Says Kundali tapanam vayoho brahmarandra praveshanam. So now what happens? The vayu. So I put it very carefully while translating. I was really breaking my head how to translate this sort of things. So that's why I put it very carefully by making the radiance and the heat of Kundalini. Because when you start practicing, now already we have discussed earlier that the Vayu starts piercing through, passing through each lotus, each Padma. So when it passes through each Padma, so definitely this Vayu is getting heated up. And this is here uses the word, of course with this practice, because of keeping that in mind. Now when it passes through, now there is some type of radiance. And this radiance and heat, when it gets into Brahmarandra finally, and of course for that you need pranayama, because without that cannot be done. So here doesn't talk much pranayama, so that's why I added a pranayama here. So person has to do pranayama, which has already talked in details in Yoga Chudamani Upanishad. Then what happens? He says, then only sarvaroga upashamanamiti. So all disease that you have, or you can say all the disease get healed. The healing happens. And of course, Jataragni Vivardhanam, your digestive fire becomes stronger. Then he says beautifully that Bapusha Kanti Mamalam Jara Mrityu Vinashanam. So the Bapusha, the body, will have some type of glow, will be well nourished and free from malas, impurities. And because of this, Jara Mrityu Vinashanam, the person will start delaying, the yogi, the practitioners will start delaying the process of decaying. Means the geriatric problem will come very lately. It will slow down the process. And not only that, also mrityu, the death. that also will be, I cannot say will not happen, will be delayed, because Vedanta is there, so I cannot say it will not happen. It's wrong technically. So this is the problem with yoga and Vedanta when it joins together, okay? But if we look at the text, yes, it will stop. How long? Maybe one kalpa. Okay, I am giving one kalpa, okay? Millions of years. One need not die. However, says beautifully, Vanchitartha phalam saksham indriyanachya maranam. And because of this, practicing this, what will happen is, definitely the person will get whatever the person wants to get. Means all the desire will be fulfilled. And especially the person will be happy and comfortable. And not only that, all the sense organs also will be conquered. Means all the sense organs will start listening to the person, will not be able to move the way they want. That's why, says beautifully, if this is the case, etat utani sarvani yogarudhasya yoginah bhavet abhyasata abhasyam natra karya vijarana. There is no need of doing anything, because whatever we discussed already, whatever above discussed subjects or above discussed benefits, definitely the person who is well established, who is really committed, Yoga Ruda says better to use the word committed to this practice. So the one who is committed to this practice, not that well established yoga, like sitting on yoga, this is called translation, okay? Sitting on yoga. So that means what? So you need a plank to sit on upon it. So the one yoga rudasya means wherever you see this arudasya, this yoga rudasya, the one who is well committed. Sometimes we use the word well established also. That is different states altogether. So well committed, well established. Says definitely the person is going to gain all these above things. So that means what? There is no point of practicing anything. Then the next verse. Gopaniya prayatnena mudreyam surapujite yantu prapya bhavam bodhe param gachanti yoginam. Here beautifully says, this is one methodology of teaching we use very carefully. Lord Shiva addresses his concept, O Sura Pujite. So O Sura Pujite means, O Gauri, instead of calling the name directly, you are the one who is being worshipped by the gods. So this is the methodology of teaching we use very carefully. That once in a while, give proper respect, not due respect, proper respect to the disciple. To make sure that the person's thinking is not going to go down. Secondly, also person will be able to take the responsibility. But the problem is when you start praising, that becomes a certificate, the person becomes more arrogant and misuses and abuses. This is the problem. But in reality, the teaching is supposed to be given proper respect. Once in a while, this is how it is being done here. You can see it very carefully. But here in common context nowadays, suppose if somebody says, I have seen some Swamiji says something casually to somebody, that becomes a certificate. Some people record it, and if there is a letter or thing, they scan it and print it and whatnot, they do it. And they misuse, abuse, compare, compete arrogance, everything comes. So now you can see here, when Lord Shiva says, O Sura Pujite, O goddess, you are the one who is being worshipped by the gods. Then suddenly says, wow, so you are also equally worshipped by God, I am also equally worshipped by God. So what is the difference between you and me? You understand? After all, you are my husband. So that becomes a competition. There is no teacher and student relationship. Can you see this point? That's why whenever you are being praised or appreciated, remember, it is dangerous. This is how I look at myself. Whenever you are praised and appreciated, but the problem with all of you, or I would rather say all of us, or common people is, they look for appreciation. Whole life moves only for appreciation, behind the appreciation. Forgetting that appreciation is a curse. Because that time you appreciate a person, this is what I do personally. Either I want to wash my hand. This is called non-committed life. When I don't want to commit myself, yes, you are very good, everything is great, please, please. Because we say, Bachare kim daridrata. Why should I show my poverty with reference to speech? Let me use all the best language. Please, one has to be very careful with reference to all these things. Because the moment somebody appreciates, either to extract or to withdraw. There is no third method to my knowledge. If I want to extract something from any one of you, if I want to use very raw way, if I want to exploit you, because extraction and exploitation is a little further, then what happens? I have to soap, I have to butter your ego. I have to appreciate. Another way of appreciation is, let him or her do whatever, why should I bother? Just say hello, how are you, and good, 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 and get out. Process of withdrawal. That is called intelligent way of living. Now, if you observe this to point why I am stretching a little bit very carefully, yogi never looks for appreciation. This is the point, nothing else. Because deep within, if you look for appreciation, you cannot practice. Your practice will stop then and there. Because always you will look at, this much I have come forward, you understand? Okay, this much has happened. So then you will get into exhibition mode, not a practicing mode. And you know, whenever you look for appreciation is nothing but you want to exhibit. That's why present generation going crazy. Whether it's men or women hair becoming shorter, exhibiting hair or body, everything. Not only hair, the dress becomes shorter so that they exhibit it to be appreciated. And what happens to men? Men hair becomes longer, including me. So, men hair becomes longer and dress becomes longer. This is a new trend. Just to draw the attention. That is called appreciation now. Means exhibition. And moreover, that's why sincerely, When you are being appreciated, when the teacher appreciates, this is the point. That means you have more responsibility. If a single word comes, one single appreciation comes from a teacher, that means you are being again destroyed. You have been given some more responsibility. Because sometimes I notice with you people that you expect me to be very nice, kind and appreciate. But the problem is my appreciation will be a certificate. That's why I am careful, okay? But in reality, appreciation should be what? Your responsibility. So when he says Sura Pujite, that means you are being worshipped by the gods. So here Gauri does not compete, doesn't compare with the Shiva. Hey, I am your wife, you are worshipped, I am worshipped, this and that. Look, no. And how the point is being said beautifully. Gopaniya prayatnena mudra yamiti. Yam mudra, this mudra. What is happening? Gopaniya. It is to be kept secret, and that to prayatnena, with greatest care. Because beautifully says, Yam tu prapya bhavam bodhe param gachanti yoginah. By gaining this, by obtaining this, by practicing this. Then what happens? He says, this yogi is able to cross the ocean of samsara, bhavam bodhe, ocean of world, you can say ocean of, I put, sense of becoming. Let us look at the next. Mudra kamadudha yesha sadhakanam mayodita gupta charena kartavya nadeya yasya kasyachite. Always this point is being very carefully highlighted. That nadeya yasya kasyachite, not to be given whomsoever you want. Common people, ordinary people, out of compassion, this and that, you cannot. You need to see whether the person is eligible or not. After seeing the eligibility only, this is to be given. That's why once in a while I do try to check, I become strict, try to scold here and there, do all these things. I know some of you may not like me, but I don't have any other choice. However, says this mudra kamadudha yesha haiti. Esha mudra kamadudha. So that means it is like, that waste fulfilling cow. So you can keep milking whatever you want. Means all your wish will be fulfilled, addressed. And of course, this is something Gupta charena kartabhya. It is to be practiced in secrecy, not openly everywhere. Just to say, oh, I am practicing this thing, I am doing this thing. No. That's why we say, whatever you practice, others should not know, others should not see. Because the moment others start seeing or knowing, then what happens? Indirectly you look for appreciation. Of course you will go through the criticism, both, don't worry. So why to invite a problem? It's like we say, there are few things, same thing also, with reference to food. Food also, to be eaten carefully, not in the public. So whenever we eat food, we eat very carefully. Okay, let me not get into. And this is what all about called. The first one